Dexter's Laboratory. We'll be looking at what factors led to its rise and what factors led to its fall. Seen as the first big hit series on Cartoon Network, Dexter's Lab ran from 1995 to 2003, even having a feature-length film in 1999 titled Dexter's Ego Trip. The show was praised by both critics and audiences alike, and at the time became Cartoon Network's most successful show. Unfortunately, however, this wasn't set to last, as during the end of its run, the show began to show huge signs of decline in quality, and sadly was cancelled due to a fall in its ratings. But before we take a look at what went wrong for the show, let's first take a look at what went right for it, and what led to its beginning. Back in the 90s, Cartoon Network had its What a Cartoon series, which was an animated series produced by Hanna-Barbera Studios that would produce various cartoon shorts that would vary in style and animation. The point of the series was to give more creative power back to the artists and animators, and take control away from executive producers. This was how things were run during the golden age of animation in the 1930s to the 1950s, a time where animation budget was high and creative freedom was rife, which helped spawn some of the most memorable cartoon series of all time, such as the Looney Tunes, Tom and Jerry, Woody Woodpecker, Droopy, and many, many more. However, during the 60s and through to the 80s, cartoon shows had to work with a much smaller budget as they went from airing into theatres to domestic television. Not only was the budget slashed, but cartoons were now seen as more exclusive products to younger children, which meant they were now heavily regulated by censorship, offering to sacrifice creative writing in favour of more straight-laced and moral-driven shows. So when Cartoon Network brought in this What a Cartoon series, it was a gamble, taking a larger budget with more risky humour in the hope that it could replicate the success of the Golden Age. And for the most part, it was incredibly successful, producing a wide variety of unique and stylized animations that were praised by both audience and critics. And if any of these one-off shorts proved to be particularly popular, they could have a chance to develop into a full-blown series. Shows such as Johnny Bravo, Cow and Chicken, Courage the Cowardly Dog, The Powerpuff Girls, The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, and Codename Kids Next Door. They all started as a pilot episode from the What a Cartoon series. But the show I want to focus on today is the show that was the first to get its own series, and that of course is Dexter's Laboratory. Dexter's Laboratory was created by Genndy Genndy Smith, and originally premiered its pilot episode on the What a Cartoon series in 1995, simply titled as Dexter's Laboratory. The episode revolved around a weirdly small ginger-haired kid named Dexter, who was a self-proclaimed boy genius, and his older blonde-haired, weirdly lanky sister, Dee Dee, who is not a genius. In this episode, Dexter invents a remote control that can transform you into any animal. His older sister Dee Dee manages to get hold of the remote and chaos ensues. The episode was a big hit, and so the network gave approval to develop it into a full series. The first season of 13 episodes aired in 1996, and a second season of 39 episodes ran until 1998. Throughout seasons 1 and 2, the show retained creative storytelling, good humour, and a pleasing art style. Though the art style changed slightly over the 2 seasons, the overall look retained high quality and looked mostly the same. As the show progressed through its original series, the show would become more creative with its ideas. You'd never know what was going to happen in an episode next. One episode starts off relatively normal, as Dexter tries to grow a beard to become more manlier, but then the show somehow ends up with him trying to take down a drug gang.
Here you are, Monsieur Foie Gras.
I can assure you it is 100% pure.
Excellent. Gentlemen, we're about to make a lot of bread.
But instead of using guns and knives, they're using their beards as weapons. It's absolutely crazy, but also hilarious. Or the episode where Dee Dee is trying to tell Dexter a joke. Dexter doesn't want to hear it, so uses what he thinks is a silent potion to shut her up, only to find that it's actually a monster potion transforming her into a hideous beast. In order to combat her, Dexter also takes the potion himself, and by the end of the episode we've got a full-blown kaiju-style Godzilla monster fight going on. Finally, in 1999, a TV movie special titled Dexter's Laboratory Ego Trip premiered on Cartoon Network. It involved Dexter travelling through time where he hopes to meet future incarnations of himself to see how great he becomes in the future. But he sees the future is not how he expected it to be, as his rival Mandark has taken over the world. So Dexter and his future incarnations work together to defeat the evil Mandark. The film was okay. I don't think it was quite to the high standard the television series set, but still felt satisfying to watch, and with the show's creator now leaving to start work on his new TV series, Samurai Jack, the movie seemed like a fitting way for the series to come to a close.
This is Joy, coming to you live in Riley's mind. Make some noise! Hello!
Or so we thought. Due to the film's successful ratings and reruns of seasons 1 and 2 still drawing in high audience numbers, Cartoon Network decided that there was still market potential for Dexter's Laboratory, and so, in 2001, the series was revived. Only this time, it was being produced by Cartoon Network Studios under Chris Savino, and would not have any involvement from the show's original creator, Genndy Tartakovsky. And this is unfortunately where things started to go wrong. So the first thing you notice from the new series is the dramatic change in art style, particularly to the backgrounds. Under Hanna-Barbera Productions, the backgrounds were colourful and detailed. The Cartoon Network studio backgrounds, however, have swapped out the colourful palette and replaced them with this horrid brown and green aesthetic. Not only that, but the shading and detail has also been lost, making the backgrounds look extremely flat and minimal. I imagine part of this was due to a drop in budget, so the shading and details had to be skimmed over, but regardless of your budget, why change what was a perfectly fine colour scheme to this god-awful, pukey green and murky brown feel? Just look at the side-by-side comparison shots here to see the difference. It wasn't just the backgrounds that saw a change in style, but the characters themselves also got remodelled. Dexter is far more square looking, Dee Dee just looks constantly off model, the mum got a bit of a colour change, and the dad, I don't know what they were thinking with the dad. Everything about this is just awful. Also, Mandark now has this stupid duck face expression, which always bothered me. As well as a redesign, some of the characters also saw some major personality changes. Dexter comes across as far more of an unlikable jerk, taking the mick out of his friend Mordecai for using a potato to power an alarm clock.
And it works.
A potato? You hooked your clock up to a potato? That is the funniest thing I have ever heard! Hey, excuse me, what time is it? I don't know. It's a potato!
And ridiculing Mandark when he first meets him for looking like a girl. Oh, I bet that joke's gonna age just perfectly fine. And yeah, whilst we're on this topic, Mandark probably received the biggest change of all. Apart from his sister, we never really saw Mandark's family in the original series. But in this new series, his sister is now gone, and instead we see his parents are actually a couple of hippies. Which I guess they decided to do for contrasting comedy purpose? But if they're full-blown hippies, why would they be living in a suburban home? And apparently when Mandark was born, his parents decided to name him Susan, and dress him to look like a traditional little girl. It was only when Dexter decided to take the mick out of him did he decide to change his name to Mandark, which again contradicts the original series, as we do hear what Mandark's actual name is in the first episode he's introduced to us. Also, in this series, Mandark went from being Dexter's rival in the original series to being a full-blown villain in the new series. In the original, Mandark would still try to save the world, he just wanted to be better at it than Dexter. In the new series, his lab now has this black demon look to it, and even Mandark's mech has been redesigned as some weird cyborg creature. And yes, I know in the film Mandark did turn evil, but that was only after the power started to corrupt his mind, he didn't start out evil from the beginning. Now with regard to the new series, I could potentially ignore all this. I could forgive the drop in art quality as budgets had to be met. I could get used to the new art style as it gives the show a fresh new look. And I could even accept the changes in character personality as it offers more exploration. I could forgive everything if the show was still entertaining like the original series. And you know what? It isn't. I'm sorry, but the writing for episodes in Season 3 and Season 4 really took a nosedive. At best, the episodes are passable, and at worst, they're some of the laziest pieces of writing I've ever seen in any show ever. And yeah, that includes Family Guy. Just to show you a couple of examples of this atrocious writing, there's an episode which focuses entirely on Mandok's laugh. Yeah, Mandok always had a distinct laugh. It was kind of his thing. But one episode takes this to the extreme where everything he does follows the same pattern of his laugh, such as showering, brushing his teeth, playing the piano, starting the car, and even pouring his cereal.